Okay, thank you so much. So yes, so as I was saying you, file, new project, and there, this is the steps. So in the categories, you have to choose Java. In the projects, we have to choose the Java application. Click on the next, give a project name, browse, select where you want to store that project. Make sure your first checkbox is selected and unselect. If it is selected, just make sure you remove the selection for the second checkbox and click on the finish. So once you have done like this, the project name with which you gave will be created for us. So inside this, now you see there are two folders. There are two folders present inside this. One folder is called as the source package. So here, one thing you have to remember, in Java, the term packages, the term packages is nothing but we are referring it to folders. In our normal, what do you say, in our Windows, we call the concept as folders. So we create a new folder, and inside the folder we will create some more files and keep. Same concept, technically in Java we call that as a package. So here a package has been created for me, and that package is called as a source package. So inside the source package you will be having all the programs. Source code, you remember I told you something called as source code. Source code is nothing but the instruction or the program that you are going to be writing. So all those programs will be present inside this folder only. So inside the source package only, everything will be present for us. Now, click on this source package, expand it and see. See, there is only one thing which is called as a default package. Nothing else is present inside this. Now, there is another folder here called as libraries. So you can just expand this also, and you can see our JDK is present inside this library. By default, a JDK is always present here. So that is why I'm able to run the program, see the output, do everything here itself. So directly I can do everything in this project itself. Right. So first step, I have created the project. Now, as usual, let us go for the first program of any programming language, which is nothing but an hello world. So how to create a program? So I hope some of you who are attending the classes remember Java is an object-oriented programming language. Java is a OOPS-based language. So that means everything that you write, every single line of code that you are writing should be present inside of something called as classes. All your Java codes, whatever you're writing, must be present inside something called as a class. You cannot write anything outside of a class. So first step is we have to create that class. So how to create a class, or what is the syntax of creating a class? I already again said syntax. The word syntax refers to the rules and regulations. So every programming language has its own set of rules. So when you are writing the code, we have to make sure that we are following that instructions or we are following that rules. So first step is how to create a classes. So syntax for creating a class. So what is the syntax? Public class, class name, then open and close curly braces. Inside this, we are going to have our statements. This is the syntax for creating a class. So how to create a class? Public class, class name. Class name is something which you are going to give. Your choice. Whatever you want as a class name, you can give that name. Then we have an open curly brace, close curly brace. Inside of this only, all your Java code must be present. So your entire code must be embedded inside this open and close curly braces. You cannot write anything outside of this braces. That is the first thumb rule that you are going to follow. Now, what is this public? What is this class? So, first is we are going to see something called as keywords. So, the first thing what we are going to learn is something called as keywords. Keywords are what we call as pre-compiled or predefined words. Keywords are predefined words. They come along with the programming language. You're not creating it. The person who has created the programming language has created the keywords also. So they come inbuilt. So they come inbuilt along with the programming language. So every keyword, okay, for a programming language, there may be multiple keywords present. So when we talk about Java, so when we specifically talk about Java, so how many keywords are there in Java? This is the list of all our keywords. So totally in Java, I have 53 keywords. So please remember, totally in Java, we have 53 keywords are present for us. So, is it necessary for you to mug up all the 53 keywords? No, not at all necessary, because these keywords are what we call as the building blocks of my program. We call the keywords. What is the work of a keyword is they are the building blocks of a program. That is, you are going to construct your program, or you are going to write your program with the help of all these keywords only. Without keywords, it is not possible for us to write the program at all. So using these keywords only, we are going to write our program. So all these keywords we will be making use of in our programs. So automatically you will start remembering everything. No need for us to mug up all this. So totally there are 53 keywords present. Each and every keyword has a special meaning. It has a special task. So as and when we are going into our programming, we will be learning about all these words one by one. Right. So the first keywords what you are going to see here are two keywords, public, class. As you can see in this list, both the keywords are present here. Look here. I have the keyword public and I have the keyword class also. So these are the two keywords that we will be seeing at the starting. Right. So as I told you, keywords are nothing but predefined words. They are also known as, okay, also known as reserved words. So another name by which we refer to this, we also call them as reserved words. So they are come inbuilt along with the language. In Java, I have 53 keywords. Each and every keyword has a special meaning. You cannot change that meaning. They are the building blocks by with which you are going to construct your program. Right. So first, let us look into the keyword public. What do you mean by this word public? So public keyword comes under something called as access specifier. Okay. Public. This keyword comes under a topic in Java which is called as access specifier. Access. Access means the word normal English word, right? So what do you mean by the term access? Giving some rights. I'm having, let us say I'm having some data. So I want to give permission. Who can access my data? So that actually depends on the access I am going to grant. So access specifiers means granting permission. So what is the role of this access specifiers in my Java is granting permission. That is what my access specifiers are going to be doing. And public is one of the access specifiers. Okay, as the name suggests, public. So we generally say public property. So the word public means common. So it is common for everyone. So public is the least secured word you have in Java. It offers zero security. So it means no security at all. Public, anyone, everyone can access my data. That is what you mean by the term public. So, like for example, beach. Beach, we say it is a public property. You cannot restrict who can come to the beach, who cannot come. We cannot enforce any restriction. So, like that, here I am going to create the class as public. So, I am giving permission. Anyone can access my class. So, generally, whenever we create a class, we will always create the class with the public access specifier only. So public is what we will be using. Now, second keyword here is nothing but class. Class is a keyword that is used to create a class. So how do I know that this is a class? I'm giving a name. So name I will give for many things in a program. When I want to create a variable, I only will give a name. When I want to create an object, I will give a name for the object. When I want to create a function, I will give a name for the function. So how to identify this name what I am giving is a class name or not? For that only we are using this keyword class. So class keyword specifies that what I am going to be creating is a class. So for that identification only we have this keyword. So to create a class, first thing is it should be public. That is, it should be common for everyone. Again, why do I use this term everyone? Remember, we are working in a project. When we plan, we work in a project. So a client, we are going to work for a client. The client is going to ask us, he is going to give the requirement. So the requirement the client is giving, are we going to write everything inside one single class itself, one single program? No, it is not possible. We are going to create multiple programs inside one project. So one program should be able to access the other program. So that is why I am giving this as a common property. Same way, in a project, multiple people can be working. Lot of you are working professionals. You know better how to work in a project. So when we talk about a project, there will be different people working on different parts of the project. Later, what we do, we integrate it all together and create it as a one single project, and then we deploy that project and give it to the client. That is the steps what we are doing, right? So I am also working in the same project. You are also working in the same project. So the program that you are writing, that is the class that you are creating, I should also be able to access it. So that is the reason I am always going to create it as public, that is as a common functionality. So class is always going to be public only. So public class followed by the class name. So now coming to this class name, the class name is what we call as an identifier. The second terminology, what you will be learning. First one, we know about keywords. The second one, what you should be knowing is something called as identifiers. Identifiers means something that I am able to identify it. For example, we all have our name. What is the purpose of our name? If someone wants to call us, how will they call? They cannot call girl wearing a specs, girl with a long hair, wearing a pink color dress. Not possible, right? So we need a name. That is to identify ourselves. And like that, in a program, programmer defined names is what we call as an identifier. Please remember what is an identifier? Programmer defined names. So as a programmer, you will be giving names to lot of the programs. Lot of different parts of the programs, you will be mentioning the names. That names given by you is what we call as an identifier. Example, class name. Who decides the class name? The programmer. You're only going to write the code. So you only will say what is the class name going to be. So class name is an identifier because it is defined by the programmer. So like this, You will be deciding the names for many concepts within a program. For example, class name, object name, function name, variable name. So, like this, for many things, a programmer is responsible for selecting the names. All those names are what we call as an identifier. Now, the reason I'm stressing on this is there are some rules that needs to be followed. I have certain rules that needs to be followed for giving a name. Just like that, I cannot keep any name as I feel like. I have to follow certain rules and regulations for that. Syntax. Every programming language has its own rules. So like that, Java is also having certain rules that needs to be followed. So what are those rules? That is what we are going to be looking into now. Rule number one. What does rule number one say is that the starting character of a name. See, when I talk about a name, it is going to have group of characters. Like our name. Is our name having single character? No, right? We are having a group of characters. Like that, whatever name we are going to give, that also will be having some group of characters. So the starting character of a name must always be either an alphabet, or you can use the underscore symbol, or you can have a dollar sign. It should be either of these three, any one of these three. You cannot have anything else. So please remember, whenever we are talking about a name, the starting character of the name should either be an alphabet, or it can be an underscore symbol, or it can be the dollar sign. Right. Now, talking about the subsequent characters. As I said, name does not have one single character. Name is going to have a group of characters. So first character must follow this rule. What about the remaining characters? The remaining characters can be a combination of more alphabets. It can be digits. It can be another underscore symbol, or it can also be another dollar sign. That is your choice. For the first character, you have to follow these rules. For the other characters, it can be any of this. It can be any of this given characters. That is what rule number one says. Now, rule number two. Rule number two. Identifiers are case sensitive. Now, what do you mean by case sensitive? Case sensitive means uppercase letters and lowercase letters are treated differently for us. They are not same, they are different. For example, okay, say for example, you are creating a variable. Let us say a small variable. Variable is nothing but a container. It is going to hold some value. Say I am creating a variable called age. What is the purpose of this container? It is going to hold the age of a person. So I am saying age is equal to 20. So I am going to hold this value 20 inside this container called as age. Right. So now I want to calculate something. I want to increment the age by 5. Whatever is the age given, I want to add 5. So what I am saying? I am saying age is equal to age plus 5. Whatever is the current value of age plus 5. I am adding another 5 to it, and I am storing it inside the same container again. But when I run this piece of code, it will throw me an error. Why error? When I'm creating the container, I have created it in small case letters. But when I'm making use of it in the program, I am using it with capital casing. Hence, it is not allowed for me. It is not allowed for me. This is what I said. Identifiers are case sensitive. Whichever way you're creating, you have to make use of them in the same manner throughout the program. You cannot change it. If you change it, your program will throw errors. So that is the second rule that you have to follow. Any name that you're giving is always case sensitive. Right. Rule number 3. Rule number 3 says that special characters other than underscore and dollar sign are not allowed within an identifiers. So other than underscore and your dollar sign, you cannot make use of any other special characters within a name. Other special characters means what? At the rate of, hash, so your star operator. So then you have the and ampersand operator, greater than, lesser than, anything, any special character. So other than underscore and dollar sign, we cannot make use of any other special characters. If you do, again your program will throw errors. Again your program is going to end up throwing errors. Right. Rule number 4. Blank spaces in between a name is not allowed. Blank spaces in between an identifier, that is nothing but a name. So blank spaces in between a name is not allowed. So please remember this also. Any empty spaces when you're typing a name, when you're creating a name, I cannot give any empty spaces in between a name. If I give, again it is going to end up throwing errors. Same way, keywords. I told you there are totally 53 keywords. Keywords cannot be used as a name. Keywords cannot be used as an identifier. For example, I want to create a class. So I'm saying public class. I'm saying if. This will throw me an error. Why? Because if is one of the 53 keywords. One of the keywords is if. So I cannot use a keyword as a identifier. Why? Because every keyword has already a special meaning. It has a task. So you cannot modify, you cannot change that meaning. So any keyword cannot be used as an identifier. If you break this rule, again your program is going to generate errors. Right. And rule number 6. Rule number 6 says that there is no limit on the length of an identifier. That is, how long a word should be, how much bigger a name should be. There is no limit. You can give how much ever bigger name you want. But remember, if you are giving a very big name, you have to type that name in lot of places also. So be cautious. Think about it and then give a name. The ideal way is to give a name between 4 to 15 letters. This is the optimized way. We call this as best practice. Best practice means this is the good ones that we use for coding. So the best practice says that any name between 4 to 15 letters is an ideal choice. Right, now let us look into some examples. I just want to show you a couple of examples. So here what I'm going to do is I am going to make use of an online compiler now. Just to show you these examples, I'm going to make use of an online compiler. Let me remove this. All this is not needed. So don't worry about all this. We are yet to come to here. So don't worry about this. Now I have just created a class. See, what is the syntax I told you for the class? Public, public, which is a keyword, class, which is again a keyword, class name. So I have given here the class name as main. Main is the name of my class. Right. Now, as I told you, forget about this. Right now, don't worry about this. Now, let us create a container. So I am going to say int age is equal to 20. Now, again, as I said, don't worry about these words also. Now, all you have to remember is age. Age is an identifier because it is a name equals to some value I have given. Now, when I run this, okay, see, there is no errors. No output and all. Don't bother about this, but there is no errors. But if I am going to give something like this, see, I am saying 12 age. I am giving a name like this. What is the rule says? Starting character must either be an alphabet or underscore or dollar sign. If you are going to use anything else other than that, your program will throw errors. So here, what is that I have given? 1H. Now when I run this, it is going to throw me an error. See what it says. So it is not going to accept it. It is going to throw me errors. So that is what I said. Whenever we are not following the rules, we are going to get errors. Same way, I am saying if is equal to 20. Again, if is one of the 53 keywords. What is the other rule says? Keywords cannot be used as an identifier. Now run this piece of code. Again, you will see what happens. Here, see where it is throwing me error. It is rightly pointing in this direction. So again, it is an error here because we are making use of a keyword as a container, as a variable. It is not allowed. Then I also told you space. Blank spaces cannot be given in between a name. So I am saying the thing as like this. So let us say average space mark. Average space mark is equal to 85. I want to create a variable called as average mark. So what I'm saying, average, I'm giving a space, then I'm giving marks. Now when I run this, again you see what is going to happen? Error. See, it clearly says compilation failed. So program is not at all compiling. Again, because of this blank space. Now remove the space. Now you run this program. You see here, there is no error now. Program is running. Output not coming is second thing, but program is not having any errors. So please remember, blank spaces in between a variable name or any name is not at all allowed for us. Right. Another example. I told you other than underscore, dollar sign, no other special characters is allowed. Suppose I am saying avg at the rate of mark. So at the rate of is one of the special characters, which is neither underscore nor dollar sign. So when I run this, again, it is going to end up with a compilation failed, compilation error. And look here, again, where the error is pointing. So this is also not allowed for us. Right, now, same thing. If I am using an underscore, now I run this. See, this time you will not be getting any errors because underscore and dollar sign are valid characters, whereas any other special character is not valid for us. So these are all the rules that you should follow when you are going to give a name for anything. Whether any of this, as I told you, this is all the names that you're going to give within a program. So whenever you're going to give a name for any of this, we have to make sure that we are following all these rules and regulations. Right, so this is what you call as an identifier. So simple task, first step is we have to create a class. So for creating a class, these are the things that you should be knowing. Okay, so I told you about the public keyword, I told you about the class keyword, and I told you about the class name. Now, what is this open curly brace and close curly brace? So this open curly brace and closing curly brace is what we call as a block. We call it as a block. So what is the purpose of it? It is used to group statements together. Together as a single unit. That is the purpose of this open and close curly brace. So whatever you write inside this open and close curly brace is considered as one single unit. That is what we call this as a block of statement or a single unit of statements. So everything that you write inside this open and close brace belongs to this class, that you have actually created. So that is the meaning of that open and close curly braces. Right. So step number 1. what we are going to do in the project that we have already created. Okay, you have already created the project. So in this step number 1, what you're going to do is you are going to create your own package. That is your own folders. See, in our Java, we will be learning about so many different concepts. First, I am going to learn about basics. Then I will learn about operators. Then I will learn about control statements. Then I am going to learn about arrays. So like this, I will be learning multiple topics. So for each and every topic, I am going to create one folders. Why? All the related things I want to put inside that folder and keep. So everything that is related to the basic concepts, I want to maintain in one separate folder. That is the purpose of folders, right? Organization. Organizing things in a systematic manner. That is the reason why we are using folders. That is what we are going to do in our project also. So first thing is, I am going to create a package called as basics. So how to create this package? So always remember, whatever programs that you're writing should come inside the source package only. So what is that you're going to do? Select this source package. Select means what? Just click on it. Then right click. Right click on the source package. You will have the option called as new. So in new, you can see here new package. See, the concept says new package. Select it. Now give a name for the package. So I am saying basic concepts. That is the name of my folder or name of the package that I am going to be giving. Once done, give finish. So now you can see that the package is created for me. See here what it says. So inside the source package, another folder is created that is called as basic underscore concepts. So now I am going to create the class inside this folder. So how to create my class? Normally, how do you create a class? This is the syntax I already told you. So here we are going to make use of this NetBeans. So I told you NetBeans is what we call as an IDE. IDE means integrated development environment. So this is like a platform for me where it will help me to write my programs. It will automatically create codes. It will give me codes, predefined codes. So I have to, it is minimizing my work. The main concept of IDEs is to minimize my work. So here you see the beauty of it. When you are going to use it, so basic underscore concept, this folder is selected. Right click on this folder again. New, you have to go for class. See here, now I have the concept Java class. So what you have to do? First create the folder, then right click on that created folder, go for new, go for Java class. Now you have to give the class name. Remember the rules what we just saw now. So class name, you have to follow all those rules and give. So I am going to give the class name as program1. Program underscore 1. This is the class name that I am going to be giving. So don't do anything else. Just give the class name and say finish. That's it. Do you see the code here? See, what is the syntax that has got created? Public, class, class name. Class name is what you give. So with that class name, a class has been created for us. See, open curly brace, close curly brace. Now, these things. You see something I have here? This is what we call as comments. This concept is what we call as comments. This is not required. You can remove this. Don't remove this line. Remove only the comments. I will tell you what is a comment. For now, just remove all this. So, see what is our program? This is the class that I have created. Where is this class present? This class is present inside a folder called as basic concepts. That is what this code says. So this is a class. This class is present inside this folder. That's all. Step number 1 is done. Now, what is step number 2? Step number 2 is you have to create a main function. Step number 2 is we have to create main function. Main function. Now, the question is, what is a main function? Why we should create it? Main function is what we call as an entry point of a program. Main function is what is known as entry point of a program. That is, you are going to write a program. Let that program be even 100 lines, 200 lines, 10,000 lines of code you are writing. But the execution has to start from any one position, right? Where should the program start its execution? That is what you have called as a main. So please remember, in Java, every program that you want to run and see the output must contain a main function, because main function is what we call as an entry point of a program. That is program's execution. So a program's execution always begins from this main only, from this main function only. That is why it is very, very important. So every program that you're creating must have a main function. If it is not having a main function, you will not be able to run the program. Program output will not be available. If you run the program, it will throw an error. It will say main function is missing. So you cannot run it. Like that, it is going to throw you an error. So that is the purpose of my main function in a program. Simple, you can say, let us say you're constructing a house. Why are you giving the main door? Main entrance. Main entrance to a house. You all are working. You are working in a company. They have constructed such a big office. But why are they having a main entrance? You can come into the office through any window, jump from a window and come. No, right? So the main entrance is the entry point. So if I want to come to your office, I have to come through that main entrance. Like that, in my program, no matter how big my program is, I need to have an entry point. That entry point is nothing but my main function. Right. So what is the syntax of the main? Like I told you, everything that you're going to create, you should follow the syntax. So what is the syntax of the main function? Public, static, void, main, string, args, of. Then open curly brace, close curly brace. Inside this open and close curly brace, we are going to write the statements. Statements are nothing but the lines of code. Whatever lines of code you want, you can write inside this open and close curly braces. That is inside this block. We call this as the main block. Why? Because the function name is main. So this block is called as a main block for us. Right. Now, let us see what does each and every word here means. Now, public, we have already discussed. What is public? We have already discussed. Now, there are two more keywords that is available here. Other than public and class, there are two more keywords that you are seeing here. One keyword is called as static and the other keyword is called as void. So these two are other keywords that we will be studying here. So other than this main, please remember, main is not a keyword. It is not a keyword, but you have to always give the name as main. It is like an unreserved keyword. It is not a reserved keyword. It's like an unreserved keyword. You cannot change this. You cannot give M in capital letters like that and all. It always has to be in small letters and it always have to be given as main only. The name cannot be modified. And inside this main, this is how you are going to define it. So this is the general syntax of your main function. So now let me add this in the program. Let me add this inside this program. So remember I told you everything that you're writing must be inside the class. So the main function also must come inside the class only. So inside this class only you have to write this main function also. Now I want to print something. Print means what? I want something in the output window. In the as a program's output, I want something to be displayed. So whatever you want to display in the output window has to be written inside a function, inside something called as println. This is the name of the function. Okay, what is this function? Is called as an output function. This is known as an output function. Why we call this as output function is whatever you give inside this function will be displayed for us in the output window. That is as the program's output. Now, what is the syntax for using this function? What is the syntax for writing this function? You have to write it like this. System dot out dot println. This is how you have to write the function. Syntax for writing the print function is like this. And remember, always the print function will end with a semicolon. Always the statement has to end with a semicolon. The semicolon is called as a statement terminator. That is to say that this line is over. With this semicolon, I am saying this line is completed. Whatever I am writing next is a new line, is a new command. So that is the meaning of this semicolon, which is my statement terminator. So inside this print, I want to print something. So whatever you want to print, you are going to give that within double quotes. So what I want to print, I want to say hello world. This is what I want to be printing. So that is what I am giving inside quotations. So now my program is done. So what I'm going to do, save this, then select the file. Select the file. This is the program name, right? Select it, right click it and give run file. Once you give run file, you can see that the program is getting executed and see output. So whatever you have given inside this println will be displayed for us in the output window. See what I'm getting. Hello world. Now let us change it or let us add another statement. So I am going to add another print statement. So I am adding new print statement here again. So what is that I am saying here? I am going to say welcome to Java programming. Then remember, always end with a semicolon. See here, ending with a semicolon. Right, next, I'm adding one more statement. So I am saying all the best. That's it. Now when I run this program, all these three statements will be getting printed. Let us run it again. So same way, select it, right click and run on the file. So there are shortcut keys also available. You can get yourself familiarized with that also. Look at the output. So hello world, then welcome to Java programming, and then it is also giving me all the best. So this is a very, very simple and our first Java program. Right. So with this, I'm stopping the session for today.